Welcome to Chronically Healthy Life Show. When you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed right into us. But what if we flip that whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, our minds, our finances, our relationships, and of course, in our lives. Let's jump right on in. I'm Andy, and joining me in everything is my life partner, Minna.
Not everything.
Most things.
So last week we had a lot of fun with Jackie and the guests, right?
Yes, Jackie and Patty.
They're fun. There's so much fun. It's kind of almost like dueling pianos. They
That's
kind of add each
right.
other, but they actually are complementing each other as well.
So we are continuing that theme for the rest of January, bringing the best of our chronic health collective coaches and the best from the best guests that we had in the last 3 years, right?
So of course we have Vince Abramo. So Vince is one of my favorite coaches from the Chronic Health Collective. So Vince finds joy in witnessing the changes of individuals and groups when they're engaged in healthy dialogue. She has a heart for small businesses and support the missions of nonprofits to fulfill the community's needs. I can't speak today. She has a master's degree in public administration and a bachelor's in telecommunication and public relations with certifications in conflict resolution, revolution, nonprofit management, and volunteer management from the University of Hawaii. She is a certified coach and trainer through the John Maxwell team, but brain health coaching through Amen University, neuro and coding certified development and leadership coach, thriving women in business, and a certified ICF ACC coach. She resides on the island of Oahu, which I'm very jealous of, with her husband Nick, and she has three wonderful adult children carving their own journeys. She tries one scary thing every year and tries one new recipe every month. I remember that because that's poke.
That is so great. And it's obvious you may need some of her brain help for today. Our second guest is Juliet Clark. She's a dear friend of mine, and she is behind the scenes coaching me how to improve my business, how to get better social media exposure, how to do all those cool reels and stuff. So for all those, hey, wow, Andy does cool reels. Well, Juliet's my secret weapon.
Yeah, you're not that cool.
Juliet Clark is a 7-time best-selling author. She's a speaker, podcaster who has spent the last 20 years helping authors, coaches like me, speakers, and small businesses all around the world building expert audiences. Her company, Super Brand Publishing, is a hybrid publishing company that works with expert authors to build multi-platform release strategies and bestseller marketing campaigns that can connect the book to the author's business.
And Julia started out as a best-selling mystery novelist. Have you read that?
No, I did not. Not yet.
And she's best known on her books Gypsy, Granny Heist, okay, and Dead by Dawn, and her 2019 book Pitch Slapped. Okay.
I thought that's a bitch slap. Well, okay, pitch slap.
That's what I almost said. Pitch Slap is a roadmap to building personal relationships over impersonal digital clicks to build revenue. At age 46, she received a black belt in Taekwondo and is an avid hiker and golfer. That I can't do. I cannot.
Fight Club.
Fight Club with golf clubs. Okay.
Oh my God, this is going to be such an amazing episode today. Right after the short break, we're going to get these two amazing guests, and they're going to duel it out. Like, literally. You're going to love it.
An empowered life has no expiration date. We're all created to do incredible things, like conquer summits, catch big waves, and live our passions. As time goes on, our bodies begin to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy levels decline, sleep patterns shift, and recovery slows. But our bodies are masterpieces of design, holding the potential to bounce back better than ever. With X39, we achieved something remarkable in the field of wellness and regenerative science that others could not. By utilizing LifeWave's unique patented technology, X39 uses light to elevate GHKCU, a copper peptide known to support overall health and wellness. Unlike traditional light therapy, which requires external light sources, X39 uses the body's own infrared light to naturally increase vitality, enhancing the body's flow of natural energy. For improvements in strength, stamina, performance, and overall health and well-being, with the simplicity of an affordable, non-invasive, non-transdermal patch. As we age, levels of these life-enhancing elements, which are associated with wellness and longevity, begin to decline. LifeWave invested 10 years into stem cell research, which resulted in over 70 patents. X39 was born to bring to the public a product that can support wellness in an entirely new way, supporting the production of younger, healthier cells with wearable light technology. Becoming a powerhouse is easier than you think. Harness your body's natural potential to maintain youthful energy and vitality, because life comes at you fast, but it doesn't have to pass you by. Live long, live well, live young. Be the light with LifeWave X39. LifeWave.
Hey, Juliet.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was listening to the intros. My gosh, what an overachiever you are.
Same. I was thinking the same thing, Juliet. I'm like, whoa. Very impressive. And I'm very curious about the other books now.
The other
Pitch Slap.
books. What do you mean the other? Oh, Pitch Slap. So you want me? So Pitch Slapped is basically a book about using quizzes in a way that is win-win for both the person taking the quiz and the business owner. So there is a lot of psychology behind it. And the name was actually generated. We were trying to decide what to name the book. Somebody got up because the focus of the book is a lot on don't just pitch to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
After they take the quiz, pitch to the right people. And so somebody came up to us at an event. I was talking about it with some girlfriends, what am I going to title this book? And somebody pitched us. And one of my friends said, don't you just want to pitch slap her? And that's where it came from. I was like, hey, I can't put that in a book title, but I can make it pitch slap. So no science behind that one.
And I'm trying to figure out where to take it from here, but right, toxic people. I'm going to take it right there with the person that you wanted to bitch slap.
What about it?
So I think we're talking about more like relationships, right, for this session. And then how it helps, right, improve our relationships. I think coming up in February, we're taking a look at that and seeing how we can better have relationships. Mine is more workplace culture. What is yours, Juliet?
Mine is really about, I'm sorry, I've got something going off over here all of a sudden. Mine is more when I teach marketing, book marketing, people think that, clicks are going to sell the book. I'm going to put my book up on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or one of those places and people will just find it. And so what we teach is you use just enough digital marketing to get a conversation. And that doesn't necessarily mean, put out like, here's my link, book an appointment. It's doing things to build an audience where you open yourself up to, how would I explain it? Like this morning, we had a training. We have an online training. We invite people. And then we put it on as a meeting, and we have this monthly. It's consistent, and we always train. It's for free. But what it invites is relationship building. So it's not just a click anymore. I'm giving you some value. You're asking questions. We're building trust, which is the foundation of most relationships. But people always think about it in the context of, a dating or, the relationship with my husband. They never think about that when it comes to business. If you want to have longevity in a marketing business relationship, then you have to take the time to build the trust. So that's really what most of what I do is teaching people probably between, I would say my target audience is between 50 and 80. These are people that are learning digital marketing, but we didn't grow up with digital marketing. We didn't grow up texting. We didn't grow up with cell phones. Remember having the phone on the wall that you drag across the house?
Oh, that's true. Yes.
That boy calls and you've got the big long cord all the way back to your bedroom, and dad's falling over it, cussing. So we grew up in a different generation, and so that's really where what I teach is how do you build those business relationships. There's the online world, but you're not going to build a relationship. A click is not a relationship. A click is an invite, but it's not a relationship until you actually contact each other and start talking and have rapport.
Oh, I love that. So like connecting with the person who's really interested in what you have to offer, but really seeing who and what your customer is doing. That's really good, Juliet.
Well, it is, but here's the other thing too, is that people don't understand. We had a training this morning on the art of enrollment through storytelling. And most entrepreneurs, they get on a call and all they want to do is close. They're thinking about the money, not the relationship. And so that's what we talked about this morning is how can you provide that value? How can you put content on the table that interests people? And then you have the right people coming to your trainings, your calls. But what I love about it too is so many entrepreneurs in that quest to close, all they think about and complain about is, I never know if somebody's going to say yes. And so there's all this anxiety around closing. When you build that trust and relationship, you're empowering yourself, you're putting on your listening skills, and you're asking questions that determine if you want them to be your client.
Exactly.
Not waiting for them. Oh my God, say yes. I'm desperate. I need X, Y, and Z. And that's really important because if you've ever gotten into a bad business relationship, most of the time it's because you didn't ask the right questions. So that's what I do is all about.
Oh, nice. And to segue that is really with the brain, since I do the neuroscience part with Dr. Amen, they're in anxiety level and then they're not allowing that creative brain to work. So they're overriding their creative part and their anxiety brain is just overworking its time because they're anxious about getting the money, making sure that they're okay, instead of really building on that relationship, which is the creative brain. So I think, who's Oprah's coach? I can't remember her name right now.
Gosh, I should know her name. She endorsed one of our books. I can't remember her name either.
Martha Beck. So she talks about the two brain, the anxiety brain and the creative brain. So when anxiety exists, right, the creative brain cannot exist. But she thought of it a different way where your creative brain exists and then your anxiety goes down. So if people would just think on that side of the brain when they approach other people instead of that anxiousness, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the difference. I try to work only with servers. I think there are two kinds of entrepreneurs. There are servers and there are sellers. The sellers just want to close the deal. It's all about what's in it for me as the entrepreneur. When you shift gears and you are about service, the business comes.
Yeah.
People feel it. They feel it, it's like the authenticity. So ever seen somebody and they're nervous and it doesn't feel like they're real? You don't trust that. When someone is just, I'm of service, what can I do for you? And mean it in, you know, and not be anxious about it. People feel that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And their cortisol level is building because of that person forcing themselves on them, right? This happens in workplace too, where you get that icky sales feeling, right? And unfortunately, that person probably learned, right? From that point of view of like being pushy. So, are you a seller or server? Like Andy asked, what type of person are you? Really, when you are offering your services, you're selling your book, whatever it is, serving your book, like you are a true service to that other person.
Yes,
Yes.
you absolutely are. The other thing about that server seller difference is, you know, the more you sell and you don't close, I think the more anxious you get because there's that almost for some people, there's that desperateness behind it. And I remember a client of mine calling me and she had booked a call. It was a half-hour call. And she said, that guy didn't really even ask me what I wanted. She was crying because she thought she was really hopeful that what he had to offer would be something that she would want. And she was in tears. She said, I felt pressure. I felt like it wasn't real. It just so there's a lot around that people don't understand. And going back to the pitch slap, that's why we named it, is because this person walked up to us. She had no idea. Are we interested in the area of her coaching? Which we weren't. So that's why we felt like, wow, did she just slime us with a pitch? And that was really it. Have you ever been someplace where someone just walks up and they start selling you and it's like, I don't know you. I'm not interested in that. And it just really, it feels bad for everyone.
Yeah, I love how you're taking this because I'm trying to change the culture. I do some sales coaching as well, but I want you to be an authentic person when you're selling. And we're creating a community here in Hawaii of women that are authentic people, that they're not pushing their services or their products, right? So they don't want to be pitch slap or whatever.
I started a new trend.
So like we're very, very decisive and discerning about who comes into the group now. Like if they're going to keep selling, we're like, we don't share information. We're okay with sharing emails, but we won't not share anything else than that. Because if you're using this platform to sell to each other, we are not that. You have to build the relationship. You get to know each other. If there's a service that we like, then we're going to ask you ourselves, right? So that's wonderful, Juliet.
Yeah, that is. It's also the difference, and I know you've been in the marketing world for a while too. It's also the difference between joint ventures and power partnership. And I worked for a joint venture company back in 2016, and I just thought it was awful because everybody's got these big funnels. There's no relationship building. And then when we get into power partnership, it sounds like what you have with these ladies. We are a really tight group of referrers. And the referral, when you take a client where you have a really good reputation, and I say, you know what, you need to go work with Vince on something, that says a lot. I've already kind of queried. I know what their budget is. I know I'm sending you as my referral partner, my power partner, somebody who can afford you, who needs you, who will resonate with you already. And that's a really big difference in that marketing world as well, that mindset that, oh, I'm going to do this giveaway and I'm going to have all these people get into my list for free. That's not what you want. You want people who are going to buy. So, that's another big difference where we work in the marketing spaces. We work with power partners versus
I love that. And then there's power partners that you can create wherever you go. Because I can think of working with a organization and how you have to advocate for yourself for your mental health, right? Is your doctor your power partner? Is the nurse practitioner your power partner? It's someone has to be in your corner to advocate for you, whether it is prescription like that will help you, or is there a doctor that will be more towards thinking of a holistic way for you to get supplements or like the patches that Andy has? What are the different ways of the power partner? Never ever think of your doctor as this overall person that tells you everything and you have to do it. You got to question your doctor. Like, I love the way that you talked about it, Juliet. Like, you need to question people of authority. You need to question the other person, even your customer. Is your client the right fit for you? This is awesome.
Yeah, no, you absolutely do. And I've had, like, that's that decision where you were talking about the brain, when you're anxious, you can't create. That's one of the reasons, because sometimes somebody will bring something to you and you'll say, well, they'll be a good client, but they don't really fit into program X or program Y. So that's the point when you've got your creativity flowing, where you can make an offer that is exactly what they need, instead of just selling a one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another place where, if that anxiety is nagging and that creativity is not flowing, you could lose a sale because they'll say, well, I don't really like X, and Y is too expensive. Is there nothing else? So
Yeah.
the more you can listen and let those creative juices flow, and really put something together that will really, really serve, the better off you are.
Yeah, that's so good. And thinking about the opposite of it, I like to talk about the automatic negative thoughts that come to people, right?
Uh-huh.
Just like when things pop up in the workplace, a lot of times people have this imposter syndrome, or that they feel like they can't do anything, things like that pop up, and they don't feel like they can contribute. So then they dim their light and they don't feel like, I don't know why I'm in this role. But same with people who are publishing books, people who are in podcasts, people who are on stage. Let your light shine, right? So
And you know what's funny about that, Vince, is I hold people's hands all the way through the journey. I will see the most competent people just melt a month before their book comes out, for exactly that reason that you're talking about, imposter syndrome. What if somebody doesn't read it? What if nobody picks it up? Which rarely happens if you're really in that authenticity, if you're in that creativity, you'll come up with a way to connect to get that book sold. But it's almost like people's confidence just melts, and they don't see the bigger picture. Like, oh, I could send books here and do a speaking gig. I could, I could come up with a creative campaign. So it kind of shuts down everything.
Yeah. I mean, those negative thoughts, they're coming at you at hundreds miles per hour. You can have 400 negative thoughts in an hour, right? And then what you do, you need to turn around that thought. And I do the 4 questions with Byron Katie, Loving What Is. The 5th question, what is the opposite thought, right? What is the opposite thought? What is possible? So some of my clients said, okay, now I am automatically thinking of the opposite thought. I had one like, so awesome. I'm getting to the point where my clients are like not even concentrating on what the likes are or the comments are, so that they feel like they're secure and confident in themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you love about Byron Katie? When I read the first book, I thought it was a little odd, but she kind of grew on me.
So she's very close friends with Dr. Amen, and then what they have figured out is they interchange with each other, whatever their cognitive behavioral therapy is. And that really works with them and how they share it with clients. They'll take pieces of it. They won't take everything. So I love it when they're like the power partnerships. I love it when I hear about psychologists and psychiatrists that work together. because they're very rare. And it's just weird, right? Blows your mind. Like, you don't know the medication that anyway, I love it when they're together and they can help the patient out or help a whole group out. Like, okay, what's going on right now? Like, holistically, what the whole thing is. And like, just like what Andy's commercial had, it's like we're looking at all the different parts of the person, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's rare that like it's balanced for me. For I would say for women in general is a myth. But how can you keep your feet in all? I have 4 pillars that I look at. But how can you keep grounded in all those pillars and not go overboard on one and ignore another one? Because that one will come up and bite you in the rear end when it gets the first opportunity if you don't do something about it.
And I don't know, I didn't share this with you, Juliet, before the start, but I have one leg, and on my Facebook it says my life is a balance, but it's not really a balance. I call it pivoting, because I have to adjust my foot all the time to find the right balance. And then when I'm on the surfboard, I do have a tandem surfer. I have a partner with me, and he's adjusting and I need to adjust, right? When it's off on that surfboard, then it's like you're gonna be in the water no matter what. So you're always adjusting, finding not the balance, but how to ride that wave in like just a few seconds.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. I can't surf with 2 legs. I cannot. And you're in Oahu. Last time I went surfing in Oahu, I almost drowned out by Turtle Bay.
Oh my gosh, you were in the North Shore.
Yeah. And
you're brave.
I can't even surf at Malibu. And here I am, like I'm falling and I'm like, oh, those look big. I think I'll try it. And no, I was a swimmer. I grew up a championship swimmer, but it doesn't help when you're in the ocean.
We were surprised when my daughter's ex-boyfriend went in like the North Shore. We're like, no, you should not do that. And then the waves, 2 waves kicked him out. He's like, oh, I'm never doing that again. I'm like, yeah, brother, you can't do that.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. My son was paddling on his way in, and he didn't get that we were in really heavy surf. And finally I was like, either I've got to save him or you've got to go save him to the instructor. And I was like, he's going to fight me. Go. Because I lifeguarded for years. I knew how to save him, but it's like, you know, it's your own kid. They're not going to do what you tell them to do.
Right. Oh, it's break time.
It's what? It's break time already? Oh my gosh.
Is it? This is so fun, Juliet.
So how did you grow up surfing?
I'm from the island of Kauai, and I did bodyboarding for a long time. And then with Access Surf is to help people with any kind of disability, invisible or visible. And it's to get them out. And I rode my first wave, back in 2015 or 16. And it was with a famous surfer and his name was Buttons. And he was a big wave surfer on the North Shore. And I was like hooked. I'm like, I need to stand every time. But you get a tandem surfer, so.
Yeah, no, it is. When you catch something, it's good. I just so rarely catch anything. I'll probably get caught by a shark next time.
You need to come back next time. Come back.
I will. So I think we're taking a break, but when we come back, I've got lots of neuromarketing questions for you.
Oh,
Are you ready for it?
Okay. I know I have to have all the right terminology because I will get questions from people.
Okay. Well, I just want to talk about like brain expansion a little bit and what our subconscious sees in marketing that we don't even realize why we're staying or why we're leaving. So that should be probably right up your alley as a neuromarketer.
Yes.
And I'm going to put you on the spot too. So how do we break? Oh, break time. Okay. We're stopping.
Are you struggling to communicate effectively or lead with clarity? At Bambushu Coaching, Vince, a certified peace specialist and brain health trainer, offers solutions tailored to your needs. Whether it's developing better leadership skills, improving communication, or fostering peace in stressful environments, Vince has the tools to help you thrive. Through personalized coaching and training, Vince helps you tap into your strengths, reduce stress, and communicate with confidence. The result: stronger leadership, clearer communication, and more peaceful, productive environments. Ready to lead with clarity and peace? Connect with Vince at Bamboo Shoot Coaching today.
Imagine a life where every day is fueled by energy, vitality, and purpose. Where age is just a number and your best years are always ahead. Hi, I'm Andy Nam, certified functional nutrition longevity coach, best-selling author, and international speaker. After reversing my own chronic health struggles, I'm now on a mission to help you live longer, stronger, and of course to look younger. I combine biohacking, cutting-edge nutrition, and stem cell technology to unlock your body's full potential. So no matter where your starting point is, I'm going to guide you toward a chronically healthy life. Ready to reverse aging and take control of your future? Connect with me today. Your journey to longevity starts here.
We're back.
Oh, we're back.
Okay, so I have to tell you, what is an organizational peace specialist? Because when I saw your title, I was like, is she going to solve the Ukraine-Russian war?
So I have professors that I studied under, and they are trying to figure it out. So they're at a higher level. So they are in higher level conflict. So they helped out with a lot of the peacekeeping, I think, in Israel, anywhere in the world. So learning from them, yes. Indirectly, I'm kind of connected to that way, yes.
There
But
you go.
organization.
Go ahead.
But my organizations, I like to help small organizations. And I think I'm going to be working with a really, really large organization of 5,000 people soon. So that will look very differently.
So we have a beauty queen who wants world peace.
So sweet.
Okay, so let's get into where I want to hear your thoughts. So with marketing, a lot of times people will go to a website and they'll leave within, you only have 3 seconds. And it's because of your brain's misalignment with what's on there. It could be a color. It could be, so could you talk a little bit about how your subconscious works in all of this? And just as an example, I know someone called the Red Hot Healer. And you think about, now she's a gorgeous redhead. So her name is Red Hot because she's, red hot and a healer. But when you look at the red hot and the healing, people sometimes don't resonate with that because healing is cool and subtle.
Green.
Pastels. Yes. So can you talk a little bit about that subconscious and how it warns us away and we don't even know sometimes why we're leaving?
So I know that marketers, some companies use the color red in their logo, right? And coming from the perspective of people with invisible disabilities, they cannot see that red color. So people that are colorblind, to people who have, all the different cognitive disabilities or learning disabilities, that red is really not really registering in their brain. So that's the first thing. That's probably why that link is not happening with that coach right now. So that's one thing. The other one is they need to be connected in a way, right? Whatever it is, capturing that person is really about the story, about how you can boost their dopamine, right? Social media, you're always boosting dopamine. You're going scrolling cat after dog video, after baby video, whatever it is. But what helps people stay on that reel is that it unfolds into a whole story. And that's what they're looking for, is to rest their eyes for a little bit. Black, by the way, is probably a resting color. People think it's green, but black is the resting color for when I have people in a mediation. I'm like, okay, we need to darken the room a little bit so that we can all calm down. So that also helps with the, like, when you see a lot of these reels, like if they have that black background, it helps them to know, okay, I need to calm down. I need to follow this story right now. So there's like color neuroscience too that's happening.
Yeah, definitely. Because people don't, I often ask people when they put their logos together or their company colors, like, what's behind that? And they'll say something like, well, I like yellow. And it's like, but you're a bank. You need blue. You need trust, because different colors have different meanings. So that might be one of the reasons too why people, they look at it and it just doesn't resonate with them, because there's something that doesn't feel trustworthy. So I love that you said that about the black. I never knew that, because I wouldn't think black would be soothing.
And we do not wear red in mediation. We never wear red, because we know that it will like instantly, with the cortisol level, with the anger, it will pop up instantly in a mediation. So we are advised to wear the blue and the green to keep the peace within the family court mediation.
Trust and calmness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good question, Juliet.
You work in family court a lot?
I used to, yes. It was a lot of work, a lot of setting up. Yes.
Yeah, I went through a divorce. I know it was a lot of work.
And there's neuroscience that's happening during that time too, right? We're managing people's behavior and we're looking out for hotspots, what may be. And then we're also seeing if people are on drugs, or if they're, their heightened level, because just being in a mediation yesterday or just witnessing a meeting, people get triggered right away if someone just talks. So that just blows my mind when people just are horrible with each other. They had to stop the meeting and one person had to say, "This is a horrible meeting." Like,
yeah, that's the way we actually, after much time, had to go. I asked the court for high conflict counseling. And that is why, because my understanding from the counselor that we went to is when you get triggered in something like that, you literally revert back to that age of the trigger.
Yes,
so all of a sudden you have a husband and a wife who are adults, who are behaving like, whatever age that is, 9, 10, 16. And it can be really, really, it can be very ugly. And when you live with someone for that long too, this, they know where those buttons are. Here, let me put that knife in and twist a little. Do you feel good about that?
And the whole thing is like having that awareness, right? Having that awareness of the trigger, like, oh, what happened here? Why did she act that way? What was her behavior? What was my behavior? Not reaction, but response. Like, oh, did I say something that was not conducive for what you're wanting? Or how can I help you? Instead of, I love, again, right, Oprah's coach, she talked about, Martha, she talked about thinking about what it is that you can switch your language or switch your script, right? It's not, what do you want to cook now? Like, how can I help you? What do you want to make today? What is the thing that will help you move forward?
And me, I want to make nothing, just cook and serve me. Does that work in your language?
By the way, me too, Juliet. This is why I don't. My bio, yeah.
We'll have to reframe that so people wait on it. How's that?
I'd like you to get in the car and drive and get something for us.
So I'm going to ask you probably a really charged question here that I want to know what you think. So you go in and you change company culture. When I look at people who talk about how woke they are and how self-aware they are, I often find that they're the least self-aware people on the planet. Do you find that they're the blamers? They're the ones who don't take responsibility. What are your thoughts about that? Am I wrong? Do we need to reframe this and have somebody serve me? No.
And that those are the second to the worst ants, the automatic negative thinkers. When they, oh, actually, that's the worst ant is when they blame others, is they don't take that responsibility, and they don't feel like everyone else is wrong, right?
Right.
So switching that to having them empowered. So for them in their past, just like how you talked about being triggered in the divorce mediation, they're getting triggered way back when they weren't validated.
Disempowering behaviors
Yes.
around them.
Mhm. Yes.
So when you do your research and your work, what separates those people, like those people who take responsibility from those who don't? Is there a pattern in their childhood? Is there what's going on there that determines or makes a person that way? Is it learned
Mm,
behavior? Is it born behavior? Or inherit? I guess they call it inherent, don't you? Don't they? Inherent.
yes. And it's case by case. Who knows, it was their environment. It could be as simple as being in a toxic environment. It may be the water that they're drinking or the mold that's in may be making them anger. Dr. Amen had a client who was cheating on his wife all the time. And he didn't know, they were married for 30 years, and then all of a sudden he was going out drinking and sleeping with other women. And they were on the verge of divorce, and they found out they had black mold all in their house. And that was triggering his brain toxicity. Isn't that interesting?
Well, yeah, it's interesting, but what about her? I would have kicked his cheating butt out of the house long before counseling.
Dr. Amen realized, oh, they actually love each other. So let's work on this. Let's really investigate. And I love it. Like, I love it when there's a holistic doctor. He's a psychiatrist, holistic doctor that really delves into every part of their lives and seeing like what is their soul like, what their spirituality, what's their friends like, what's their home environment like. Everything is a factor when it comes to your brain, just like your body. Yeah.
So when you say that, what is their home environment like? Are people in denial about that, or do they communicate it outright, or are they in denial and you have to kind of pull it out of them?
And going to any of those Amen clinics, they have like a 500 questionnaire, 500 questionnaire, and you have to take it twice. Once when you have eaten, and once when you have not eaten. So it's pretty intensive. And that's what's really, we're looking at assessments and seeing where the brain is, because there's 16 different brain types. And we see that like some things they never knew, and some things they were aware of, but they never worked on. Like someone who has ADHD, they may need medication. And if they haven't addressed it and they've been living with it for their whole life, they're working to improve their brain. It's a lot of work. So
Interesting.
it's so interesting. It's so fascinating. And I love following a lot of neuroscientists.
You know what's funny about that is I have ADHD, but I'm so old, they didn't have medication back there. So my parents taught me a lot of techniques. So I'm a list maker. Like I have to write that list. I have to cross things off. So many times people have come and said, oh, you can do that on the computer. There's not that that hand brain connection going on that keeps focused when I do that. But it's interesting because it is somewhat hereditary. My dad had it. That's why he taught me to control it. We put my son on medication, and my son took himself off medication when he turned 17. He's like, not going to do this anymore, and started using different techniques. So how wise of him, because I was okay with the medication. But
my whole family too. Juliet.
Yeah.
Oh, this is why we're connecting.
So I have to say too, the 500 word connection, or the 500 question, like, do you do it on an empty stomach? And then by the time you're done, you're so hungry, you eat and take it again? I mean, that's a lot of questions.
That's a lot of questions. And I had no idea how many hours it was. So yeah, bless them all. My son did it, and I couldn't believe it. And then like they take your blood and they're swabbing you. It's so much, but it was such a comprehensive outcome. It looked at his entire brain. He has bipolar, and they looked at what was a trigger for him, what were some of his symptoms that come up, what are the things that what happens with him that may have him be in a manic episode or going towards a depressive episode. So it's so interesting, right? And they found out, we never knew until he was 22 that he has also ADHD after that test. So they go deep in those tests.
You couldn't tell my son. I could tell. Like, and what was interesting about that as well is we had such a struggle with, first of all, getting him tested with the school, but also I think those people learn a little bit differently. So the classroom, when he was smaller, was really tough because of the learning modalities. They don't really, they go down one path, and I think everybody learns in different ways. So it can be really tough with the ADHD as well, and doing that.
And I'm trying to think of how many different types. So there is an ADHD test that also Dr. Amen provides. I think there's 7 different types. Please don't quote me on that. But it's interesting the type of food even you should be eating.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah.
And like the different supplements, like the omega-3, it should be a certain omega-3 that you should be having. So DHA, EPA, whatever it is, it should address to the type of ADHD you have. So what was your question, Juliet?
Well, that was my question about the food, the supplements. I mean, Lion's Mane is all making this big splash into the market, and it's amazing stuff. Do you guys do strictly drug interventions, or are there supplement interventions?
There's and he has a whole line, supplement intervention. And I tell surprise. But I tell people, no, go ahead and find whatever it is, Whole Foods, wherever you can. But our biggest thing is that it's organic, and it comes from a sustainable farm that is raising like fish that is good for the brain, things like that may affect it. Like he goes so deep as far as like, yeah, you can have steak, but where is that cow being raised? How is it, right? So all of those things is very important, because the trauma, whatever happening, even with the animal, it carries through in the food, which is like, you would not hear that from a psychiatrist, but he really like gets into that even with his supplements.
Wow. So my first degree is my bachelor's is in horticulture. And back in the olden days when I went to college, one of our biggest challenges in the agricultural field was getting organic food to market cheaply. And part of that struggle, which I'm hoping people are going to, with the whole RFK thing and the Casey Cowley means good energy, I'm hoping that people will begin to look beyond that in ways, because the biggest challenge is organically grown food often doesn't look like the pretty things in the store that have preservatives in them. So people bypass it because they'll say, oh, that has a little hole in it. Well, that worm is protein. Well, I'm not kidding. I was going to say the worm is protein. That's what we used to joke. But
as long as it's organic.
Yeah, as long as it's organic. What did that worm eat? But you have to look at all that. Like I eat a lot of grass-fed, but I know where that grass-fed came from, because even with the grass-fed, like did they come in with a, with the plane that puts the chemicals on it, or is it organic grass-fed? Is the grass organic that it's eating? Yes. Is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
The crop doesn't come in and dump chemicals on it.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh my gosh, our time is up again.
Is it already? Yeah. 2 minutes. Okay.
I actually had to go ahead. I actually had to eat in college. I had a pesticide class I had to take. And in order to get an A, I had to eat a beetle. because the guy was a total jerk. He's like, women don't belong in agriculture. If you want to know, you have to eat a beetle. So I ate it. I would not recommend it. They don't taste like chicken.
By the way, my mom she's from the Philippines, so we actually ate bumblebees. Anyway.
How did you get the stinger out?
I have no idea how my mom did it, but it was crunchy.
I know, you guys are happy
potato
people.
Chips.
Sorry.
No, we went all over. Like, I think we're riffing off each other because we have ADHD. But anyway.
The true purpose of this podcast was to get Juliet into counseling.
That's what everyone seems to say when they ever talk to me. I'm like, no, I don't.
You don't need counseling. We're perfect.
I told everyone today was going to be a fun episode.
You two crack us up big time.
Who are you guys? No.
Where did you come from?
The audience.
Oh my gosh. Eating beetles, eating bees, and oh my gosh.
We did eat ants in Mexico. So
Yeah, but they didn't look like ants, though.
I mean, they meshed it. It's an ant, right?
And it did taste like chicken, Juliet, just so you know.
Ants did?
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not eating ants unless they're dipped in chocolate. Lots of chocolate.
Oh my God. But,
I got to tell you, the minute we get off this show, I'm Googling how you get the stinger out of a bumblebee. And think about that for a minute. That, like, the beetle is a smooth down your throat. A bumblebee is hairy.
Yeah. No, my brother and I had to crunch it like a potato chip. Like, okay.
This show is so over.
Totally raw, totally unfiltered. You guys were amazing today. Thank you for being our guests on the show. I hope a lot of people got a lot of aha moments and, a lot of laughter. Laughter is good for your brain. Laughter keeps you young. And you guys brought a lot of laughter and a lot of wisdom in this episode.
Yeah, you guys are lovely. I really enjoy your conversations. But anyways, who do we have next week?
So next week we have Amanda for our Chronic Health Collective, and we're inviting back Tasha, which is where I met her at actually another event in Kansas. So we're gonna have them be on the show next week. But if you love what you saw on the show, make sure to reach out to Juliet and reach out to Vince. We're just going to cut her face off a little bit here. You got their information there. Scan the QR codes. The QR codes are there where you can set up your 30-minute consult with them. And, you could dig a little deeper on how they can help build your business or how they can improve your relationships in whatever aspect that it may be.
Of course. So, join us back here next Friday, 7 p.m. CST. You can watch all the episodes at e360tv.com. We are in the Vitality TV network. And of course, we have a YouTube channel, Chronically Healthy Life. And if you'd like to know more about what we do and how we can help you live a chronically healthy life, we have a website at chronicallyhealthylife.com.
And of course, always leave your comments, questions, or suggestions about the show. I'm sure people's going to comment on the show on our Facebook page, or, of course, email us anything at Chronically Healthy Life. We'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.